Someone requested to do this video. We're gonna run the Monolith at 100 RPM. I forget if that's the amount I agreed to try, but we're gonna try a super low RPM. 100 RPM is pretty low on this. It does go down to like 20 or something ridiculous, but I did have it jam up once, so I don't want to risk that. Although it was grinding super fine with old coffee at that in that instance. But I don't want to risk it again. I think 100 should be good. I'm going to run it and I'm going to drop the beans in, and it'll take a long time to grind. This grinder kind of finishes slow, like at the end it kind of always just has, I don't know if it's popcorning or what, but it always has like a little more to grind. There is a handy little turbo button which goes up to 800 RPM, which is the maximum speed on this, which isn't that high, but it's relatively quick, or quick enough at that RPM, but I usually do around 650. So that's probably what I'll do. I'll do a comparison between the 100 RPM and 650 RPM, which is relatively high. The maximum is 800, like I said. I might adjust the grind size a little bit. So right now it's about, I call it 1.8 at the last notch before the 2, because there's 5 notches, so I go 2, 4, 6, 8. I don't know why grinders do that. The Weber key has the same thing, where it's like, this one's even weirder because, you know, it's at negative something, or it's at 14.246. So this would be 0.8 and then 0. This one actually has, yeah, they're all kind of, the Monolith is the only one that has settings that make sense that aren't like below 0 right now for espresso. But it's all relative, doesn't really matter. But I like how the Lagom, at least, you got 0 to 5 to 1. It makes sense. You could say this is setting number 2. Right now it's at setting -3. Or 9.7. Anyway, I digress. So I predict that I know with this guy at lower RPM, they're all variable RPM. So with most grinders, you get higher clarity at lower RPM but less body. This one has the Unimodal burrs in it, SSP Unimodal. They're pretty evenly fine, you know. It grounds really even, and it doesn't have a lot of fine particles, which is good for flavor clarity. But I found with lower RPM, below 7, I think 7 I've been using mostly, and I had good luck with it. But if I go lower, I usually get worse extractions. Like, I don't know if it's just I get more channeling, or something usually goes wrong and it doesn't taste as good. So I stick with higher RPM, and you still get really good clarity with those burrs. So this is all, I'm talking espresso relative. So with filter or drip or whatever, coarser brew methods, that might be totally different, where you might have much better results at lower RPM. I believe that should be the case, where if you want clarity and less body for filter or coarser brew methods, then lower RPM is the benefit. You have a benefit there with it. But at least with this burr set in the P64, that one doesn't seem to benefit as much from lower RPM. I suspect the Monolith may be similar, so it might be harder to pull a good looking shot at lower RPM, but we'll find out. It's been a while since I've done that. But I do remember noticing the difference, like it was higher body with the higher RPM and less clarity, a little more clarity on lower RPM, but you know, 400, 500, 600, in the kind of the mid-range gives good results. It's a good, these burrs in it are pretty good for clarity and just nice flavor. Yeah, so I'm gonna try it now. Oh, actually, okay, so here's the coffee I'm gonna be using. This is from Monogram Roasters, and it's my first Bolivia coffee. There's actually, they got a subscription, so they sent me like 3 or 4 maybe, different Bolivia coffees, and they've all been pretty good so far. This one does taste like strawberry when I made it in the P64. I don't know if I've used it on the Monolith, but yeah, I probably have. Very strawberry forward, which is nice. There's another one called La Linda, which it had cashew notes and also from Bolivia, and yeah, it was very cashew nutty like, and I really liked it. So yeah, I'm liking the Bolivian coffees, which never even heard of until recently. So I'm gonna do 18.1 or 18 grams of this coffee, and I'm going to do it directly into the portafilter, which lately I've been using a cup, but this time I'm just going to do it direct for this test. Yeah, it's actually running right now. It's super quiet at 100 RPM. Here, let's do, if I press this turbo button, it's going to go to 800 RPM, so you can hear the difference. So that's what usually happens with the Monolith. There's like a little crumb. Maybe I should bellow this out and reset. Yeah, so we didn't really get anything out. So I'm just going to ignore that. I don't think that's going to affect anything. And let's slowly pour this in, and hopefully nothing's going to happen with clogging. Yeah, super slow. And it's working. And it's a little quieter if you put the bellows back on top. But it's a pretty quiet grinder, especially at low RPM. Oh, here's a little neat thing about it shows you the actual RPM. See, mostly 100, sometimes it goes to 102, sometimes it'll go down to 98 or something, but yeah, pretty steady at 100. Yep, this is gonna take a while. I'll cut to when it's done. So it's been about a minute since I stopped. Pause the recording, and still going. So yeah, not too practical, especially, I mean, if you're waiting for it. Not going to be fun to grind with the Monolith Titan Flat. I think the Flat Max is a little faster with its larger burrs, but it also has a lower RPM range, which is interesting. I think the maximum it does is 400 or 600 RPM? I forget, but I remember thinking it was low, and 800 RPM for a flat burr grinder is already pretty low. 800 is the max on that. This guy can go up to 1400, I believe, and same as the DF64, which I also have in the other room. Most flat burr grinders are 1400, 1200 at least. Some of them, like the Eureka's, are like 1600 RPM, 1650, which I think gives it more body and less flavor clarity. Eureka burrs tend to behave that way, which could be just the burr design, but also I think is because of the speed. So it's probably almost done. I find with the Monolith you get some retention in the chute, so using this little bellows will push that out, but it's also easy to just remove this magnetically attached chute and knock it, just remove it quick and then snap it back on, and it will knock out the little bit of retention that's in the chute, but I think it also blows out with the bellows, so I usually do both once it's done, and it's almost done. So it's been all that time that we first were recording on video, plus 3 minutes of grinding. So what? That's like 4, maybe 5 minutes total grind time at 100 RPM. At a really fine espresso size. At this point, I could probably just go turbo and get it to finish up. But I'll be patient, or not, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much done. So, turbo mode. Oh, so there's a good amount that was either sitting on the burrs or something. hopefully that won't affect our taste results. Just having a little bit of that finely ground, or the high RPM. So you can actually see the burrs spinning. That's 100 RPM for you. Don't put your finger in there. Alright, so time to brew the shot. Actually, before doing the shot, here's what I do. So we're gonna scrape the edges. I'm gonna go deep to get it nice and level. Okay. I'm not looking at what I'm recording, so it might not be great, but trying to focus on the coffee. It's pretty good. I'll do the same thing with the next one. Should just tap it down a little. And yeah, I'm gonna use self-leveling tamper, and I'm gonna maybe try and do a pre-infusion. I have the manual thing, but I'm getting pretty good at like you just start the flow really slow, and you can control, give it a little bit of a pre-infusion that way, and then I ramp up the pressure, and maybe I'll do like 8 bars. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, I'm also using a puck screen. Alright, so it might be a bad idea to record the shot while I'm trying to do it well. So you can usually hear when the pressure is building up. It's about there, so we're gonna slow it. Oh yeah, it looks like it's coming out nice. So kind of slowed down the flow. I'm gonna call that a pre-infusion, then we're gonna keep it around 8 bars. Oh, it went down. So I'm adjusting the flow gradually, and I should pay attention. Yeah, maybe it's a little fast. I'm gonna start slowing it down. That's too fast. I mean, this is not too fast. 38 seconds. 27 seconds. Oh, why does the temperature look so low? I had it set to 201, but yeah, 195. I wonder what it was when it started the shot. That's lower than usual. Normally it doesn't fluctuate that much. Yeah, I was thinking that was too fast, but that is probably normal for an espresso shot. I've just been doing very long, slow shots lately, so seem fast, but it's within valid parameters, so I'll see if I could do the other one the same. But the other effect of high RPM is that it might flow faster. So I'll save this for later. I put it in the cup that's gonna keep it cool, and keep it warm. And the other one, I'm gonna brew right into the ceramic cup. That way they'll be about the same temperature when I try them. Alright, so this next one, we have it on 650 RPM, which is already set. It's hard to see. But there it is, 650 RPM, and I adjusted it a little coarser at number 2 as opposed to 1.8. So just one notch different, because I suspect it's going to flow a lot slower, and that's going to affect things. So I don't know whether it's best to compensate. Yeah, I think going a little coarser is probably the best. It's still probably going to run slower than the other shot. That's my guess. Alright, so 650 RPM, I got 18.1 grams again. I'm gonna... Sounds like it's got a little bit out. You know what? I'll clean that out. So in the process of waiting, I guess the static electricity inside kind of dissipated. In the process of waiting and then changing it to higher RPM in between shots. Now we had a little bit of retention, but that was probably like 0.05 of a gram, like not even 0.1 of a gram. Yeah, so, but there was a little bit, so I just dumped that out for my my high-low RPM test. And this time we're going to time it. Alright, so I started the timer a little early. Yeah. 650 RPM should be a lot faster. But it's still not a fast grinder. Let's see, how's our... Yeah, it looks like it's jumping around a little more. Oh shit, I almost lost my portafilter. Yeah, we don't want to do that. This, could probably adjust this better. Looked like it was leaning a little, and yeah, it's been about... So far it's been about 50 seconds. I did start the time... yeah, it's probably going to be done in I'd say it's pretty much done. Bellows, turbo. So the thing I don't like about this is there's always it's always finding a little more coffee. It's like it's technically probably done. Yeah, now it's really done. And timer says about a minute 20 seconds. We started a little early, so maybe like a minute 10 seconds. And that should be everything. It's pretty good with switching between grind size and, you know, not having a bunch of retention. Yeah, and you put 16 grams in, you get 16 grams out, or close to it, you know, 15.9 or 16.1. I mean, in this case, I got 18, and I didn't tear the portafilter, otherwise I'd confirm, but I trusted enough that I put in 18.1, I probably got out 18 grams. Yeah. Try and do the same thing, so it goes a little less coffee stuck to the edge of the filter. So go deep, because I did that in my first one. It smells nice. This actually looks like it's less clumpy. Does it look fluffier at higher RPM? I think it does. And it's ready. Alright, I'm trying to do the same thing. We are teared, yeah. Okay. So slow the flow, get a little bit of a pre-infusion. It's already coming out, so it actually isn't okay, let's go up to 8 as I did previously. Oh yeah, we're getting too fast already, actually. I don't know why. Huh. Oh shit. Alright. Nah, that's not ideal. So we got 38 and 28. We lost the time on that. Yeah, it's not gonna do the same, but I'll try them anyway. Alright, so first impressions. Whoop. We liked the first one, the one that the low RPM, better. But that's most likely due to how it pulled the shot. Yeah, it's just, it's smooth. And it's got, I don't know if I'm tasting that strawberry as, it's got a fruitiness to it. I don't know if it's like a strawberry, the same strawberry flavor I got out of the P64 with the Unimodal burrs. But it's nice. This one is a little harsher. I think I'm noticing a little less. Yeah, I don't know. It still has a little bit of like a nice fruit flavor. I think it's more, I'm getting more lemon, which isn't bad. Let me have a bigger sip. Yeah, it's not amazing. And the texture I think is better on the on this one, but I think mainly because I had I think it was like 35 grams out. This one was like 38 grams, and it flowed too fast. So, not really a fair comparison. Let's try it again. Yeah, a little richer. There's a good acidity in both of them still. But yeah, I think this one's the winner. But it did pull better shots, so maybe I'll try again and yeah, I'm gonna make the grind size finer, and yeah, I'll try one more time. All right, high RPM once again, 18.1 grams. Oh, the bellows. Oh, and I adjusted the grind size to 1.4, 1.6. So we're going a little finer, but we're at 650 RPM once again, and yeah, we'll see. Should have teared the portafilter, but pretty sure we got the right amount out. It did run faster than expected. I assumed higher RPM would mean slower shot time, but didn't seem to be the case. And I seemed to grind pretty quick. It's almost done. Almost done. Oh, no, keeps going. I'm gonna push the bellows just to... Usually just wait till the end to push the bellows. Maybe pushing it midway is good. So the benefit of higher RPM is it doesn't sound like it's almost done quite as much. Like, you can tell it's done now. Where at lower RPM, it kind of, seems like it's almost done, and it keeps going, and it keeps going, keeps going. So, yeah. So let's see if I can make this flow similar to our first shot, which turned out pretty good. Alright, you know what? Let's go deep. Ooh. So I think how you first initially seat the tamper down, if it's filled to the brim, I think that does have an effect, possibly, with these self-leveling ones. So I'm kind of more aware of that lately. And whoops, I gotta rinse out my puck screen. Alright, so let's try and get a better overview of everything that's happening. Oh, no, I can't get everything in the frame unless I'm really far. Oh, flow control, gotta keep an eye on that. So, yeah, oh, too high. So the problem with flow control on E61 is it'll drop. Oh, wait, we don't want to go above 8. Went a little bit above 8. It's flowing nice and slow now. So if we get an eye on that. Hard to see. Oops. Okay, this is going to be different. See, the problem is, I watch everything at once. So it dropped a little bit in pressure. I'm going to go back up to 8. Maybe speed up the flow a little that way. So it's going a little slower than it first did. And I remember saying I'm going to drop the flow a little. Oh, done. Fuck. And yeah, messed up. So first time was like 35 grams out. Probably in about the same time. I'll try it. That's probably good. But yeah, it's hard to film and brew consistently. I need a decent for repetitive, consistent, same exact shot back to back. Or I just need to stop recording the shots. All right, now this one is definitely colder, so the temperature, it changes the flavor. Or you notice different things in the flavor, I should say. So this one's definitely warmer, and that's going to affect the flavor. So I'll wait for it to cool down before I make the final assessment. But initially, it's similar to the last one, I think. I'm not getting as much of that fruitiness. I wouldn't say it's chocolatey, but a little more like a little roasty, a little bitter. This one's just smoother. I do like it is a little more acidic, but that one did brew, and by the end of the shot, it looked like the temperature was lower, so my machine may have failed there. my espresso machine. Usually it doesn't do that, or I don't notice that. I'm gonna have to pay attention to, after running the shot for 30-ish seconds, what the temperature shows on the PID. Right now it's set to 201, and I think it's usually 200 to 199 maybe. Yeah, I think they're both good, but yeah, I think if I had to choose one, I'd probably prefer the lower RPM one, maybe with a better, warmer temperature brew. And that would be ideal. But they're both good, and something in between would probably be a good compromise so that you don't have to wait 3-4 minutes for the coffee to grind. We'll give it a cool and try it again. Yep, pretty much same conclusion now that it's cooler. There's a little bit more bitterness in the high RPM one. I don't know if I tell the difference, if I could tell the difference in body, but I think I pulled this shot a little longer, so that would also make the body weaker when it should be more rich. So I think I missed out on that by pulling it a little longer. Also, it could be why it's a little more bitter. This one's probably a little sour because of the temperature difference. So not a perfect comparison, but I think I do notice a little more depth in the flavors, like a little more fruitiness, a little more tea-like, and delicate kind of flavor notes. Both good though. But I would say I don't notice the strawberry flavor that I was getting in the P64. I'm going to try that again maybe tomorrow. It was turning out nicer in the P64. I don't know if that's just my machine acting up today or just the way I brewed it, grind size. I don't know. But I'll see if I could do something similar tomorrow with the P64, same coffee, and see how that turns out. Another day, another coffee. So this is with the P64. I think it comes out a little fluffier than the Monolith was, at least at low RPM on the Monolith. But I am using relatively high RPM, 7, which is I think 800 on the P64, maximum is 1400. Yeah, so... Oh, what just happened there? Oh, with the basket was not in right. Alright, can brew shot. Alright, kept it about 8 bars. Oh, let's see. That's the other boiler, which is off. So it says 199. I think it said 198 like a second ago. So we got, I think it was like 40 seconds on the pump timer. This is from first flow, so that's about how I like it. Faster than usual for me, but that should be good. Yep, so I don't know if it's just because I had pulled a better shot, it's been better dialed in for the P64, or it's those Unimodal burrs. They do have a little more clarity than the Monolith or anything else. But I am noticing more of the strawberry flavor in this one. And yeah, it's nice. Usually the Monolith has like a little less clarity, but it usually makes things, it kind of tones down the bitterness and the acidity and just makes everything nice with having a good amount of clarity. The Weber key, same kind of idea, except it does it in a different way. Both of them I find kind of affect the flavor, where the Unimodal burrs and the P64, they kind of give you like what seems to be like the honest, like how the coffee's supposed to taste. And if you get it wrong, it will be unforgiving and it will punish you, more so than on these other guys. Yeah, but they're all good. So let me try this again. Yeah, it's definitely got like a fruity little bit of like a bitter, or just not even that bitter. No, it's pretty nice. There's definitely more fruit notes coming forward. So, P64 wins in this test with this coffee. But I probably could dial in the Monolith better and get a better shot. I think the first one with low RPM worked nicely, and then adjusting the RPM, as it would on any of these grinders, it will change the grind timing, I mean the shot timing, and then you got to compensate in different ways to get the flow rate and extraction rate. So that adds another complication, another variable, but usually, slight changes on RPM isn't gonna affect too much. And yeah, you can get good results with modifying the RPM to get, to dial it in with the flavor profile that you want for a specific coffee. So if you got something that's like more chocolatey and you want more body, doing like the Monolith at higher RPM is going to work better, or the Weber key. And if you want more clarity, just lower the RPM, dial it in, and you get more clarity, which is usually better with the lighter roast, or for filter coffee, it usually helps. Yeah, I'm gonna try this baggie of mystery coffee that someone gave me.